All right, welcome to today's Vibrant Conversation. We are talking about memorization and how to make the most of your memory work. So we're gonna try a little hands-on stuff. We're gonna hear Conrad play a piece from memory, hopefully. And we're also going to work on memorizing a new piece that he has not memorized yet. So we'll see how far we can get with that with the tools that I'm gonna share today. So Conrad, can we hear you try to play a piece from memory and tell us what it is first?
So I've just barely memorized this song. I mean, I have it memorized pretty good, but it's not all the notes are the best.
Okay, so you got the big idea.
That's William Tell. I like brain fart.
Can you keep going or no?
Probably.
Nice. So you actually knew that quite well, especially to be able to just pick up right where you had quit and keep going. So bravo. Now, I'm guessing that you memorized this kind of out of necessity because I know the ricochet took a lot of work. Am I right? Yeah, so you needed to be able to pay attention to ricochet. And so the rest kind of just got memorized because it had to, so that you could focus on what you're doing, which is why it's super important to memorize things, because we need our mind to be able to do stuff instead of read notes. So the first thing about memory is, what is the sheet music even for? What would you say the sheet music is for? Any idea?
Probably so you can learn the song.
Right. So it's basically, I like to think of it as a roadmap or directions. So if you're gonna, now, nowadays people have GPSs like on their phone and whatever, and they put the directions in and they set it there on the dash and they drive. But we used to open a big map and look at the map, figure out what roads we were gonna take, put the map away, and then drive there. And if you got lost or whatever, you had to stop, get the map back out, look at it. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's how it used to be, and that's kind of how music is. That's how music should really be treated. It's your directions, you take a look at it, you're like, okay, I see how that works, set it aside and play from memory. So my big challenge for everyone that's watching this is to memorize everything you play this week. And that is a pretty big challenge. But I want you to try it if you're up to it, because you're going to be super surprised by how much you can actually memorize if you constantly think this way. So let's try this out. And I'm going to help you memorize it. You said you wanted to do Consider the Lilies, right? Okay, so let's grab that and try these ideas with you. So first thing I want you to do, and I know you already know this song, so I want to see where you're at with the memory on this song. So don't look at your music. Let's just see how far you can get.
It's not, I haven't played this one in a while.
Okay, so you think that's about as far as you can go?
I can't remember it all.
Okay, because I think you're just missing things like C sharps and stuff is messing you up because you know it doesn't sound quite right. Okay, so this might be an easy task, which is fine. So let's try this out. The first thing is to look for patterns. So when you can find a pattern in your piece, it obviously makes it easier for your mind to remember more and more of it. Do you see anything that repeats itself?
The dotted quarter D.
Exactly. So there's some rhythm patterns that repeat themselves. So it actually, you could look at the first measure is a pattern on the A string. And then the second measure, measure 16, I mean, is the pattern on the, it's the same pattern, but we stay on the D string, right? And then we have a few fill-in notes, and then you get that pattern again, right, on the A string.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna show the music here so that anybody watching can see this. And let's do that. So I want you to think, I want you to just look at this for a second. So you're gonna notice this pattern all the way to here. You can memorize that much notes, right? And then notice this pattern, a few fill-in notes here, same pattern again, and stop right there. And I think that's about where you went to anyways, but let's just see if you can do that part without the mistakes this time.
So all the way to 20.
Yeah, with no music. Yeah, you made it all the way to like 21, 22, I think. So, do you know if you made any mistakes? Take a look at your music.
I made on the measure, on the second measure, with the run, I missed. I did a D instead of a C sharp. And then on the same run, but a kind of different pattern on 18.
Right. So that was the one that I heard. You actually played this right here, again right here. So that was, and that's an easy fix. So now if you were to do it again, you would fix that. But before we do that, I think you can handle a little bit more. So let's go into this next section here. So you've got these patterns. So you have stepping and then a leap. This is a little bit different. So just kind of look at how this pattern is working, right? And then this one is all skips, okay? And then this one is stepping and a leap. It's exactly like that one, right? So can you start for me right here and only play these? Take a look at it first. When you're ready, try to play it from memory. Okay, so take a look at it. Look at that pattern again. Notice this. The first one starts on F sharp. The second one starts on G. The third one starts on B. And then you're back to F sharp. Now try it again. Very nice. So look at your music again, double check it. You pretty much have it right. Make sure your rhythm is good. Let's do that one more time to solidify it. Very good. Now, you can go ahead and look at your music if you want to. We're going to go back to the beginning and see how far you can get, if you can get that far. I think you can get all the way to the end of measure 25.
I'll try.
Awesome. Sorry, what was that?
Well, I got to like 33.
I know, it's amazing. So you kind of probably already knew that middle section there. It's a little bit easier, right?
It's like it just repeats itself.
Right. Right. Okay, so really good. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to give you a new idea here. And that is, hang on a second, let me grab my notes. Okay, so that's patterns. There can be scale patterns, there can be sequence patterns, which is kind of what you had with those runs.
What is a sequence pattern?
So let me see if I can find a better one in your part here. I'll share the music again. So a sequence would be, well, I mean, this is a sequence. You have this, like this right here, comes back right here, but it's a little bit different. Then it comes back again as the same thing. Let's see if we can find an even better one. Even something like this, where you are noticing this time it comes into the high D as a scaly thing, and then you're in the high D. And then the next sequence where it happens again, it's this way, but it's basically the same thing. You see?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of a sequence. A better sequence would be like if it did something like this. Right, so it keeps going back and climbing in a similar way. Or you could have a sequence that was like, I mean, I guess sequences and patterns are kind of similar, but anyways. Okay, so you can have all of those different ways. And
It's kind of like a ladder where it keeps getting longer up. Like you just move up only one space though.
yeah, it's like it's the same thing, but starting from a different note. where I guess I think a pattern, I would call it a pattern if it's exactly the same thing. And I would call it a sequence if it's the same, like arpeggiation or scale, but starting from a different note.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it anyways. Okay, so here's what we want to do next. I'm going to do this different. Okay, so you probably don't, do you have any sticky notes handy?
No.
Okay, so this, you can try this later. You might be able to try it a little bit with just like a regular piece of paper, but I take sticky notes and I'll show you on actually the one you just played, the William Tell. So if I was trying to memorize the William Tell and I was sure that I knew the opening measure right, because that's pretty easy, I'd cover that up with the sticky note so that I couldn't see it.
Oh.
Play that, right? And then I can see that the F pattern happens several times. I obviously already have that memorized. So I'm going to cover up all of those, right? And you can cut your sticky notes if you need to make them smaller or whatever. But then you play it with that stuff covered up. And if you can do it, then you start covering more stuff up, right? And eventually your whole paper is covered up. So let's try this. Can we get creative and try this with Consider the Lilies? Somehow cover things up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the part that we just definitely memorized, we can cover all of that up.
Oh. It's like all the way to like 38.
Are you comfortable with that? I was thinking more like 25.
Okay.
Okay, so you got it covered to 25. You can look at your music if you want to, because it's not even there, the part that's memorized. And then, yeah, go ahead. Okay, so this is perfect because you like almost have it, but you're just not confident that you have it memorized right. So here's what I'd like you to do if you can pull this off. Sticky notes would make it easier, but if you go cover up measure 34 and measure 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
So from 26 to where?
No, so you're gonna start playing at 26, but you're gonna cover up measure 30 and measure 34 only. That makes sense? Or just like, since you don't have a way to cover it, I think your mom went to get something. Just close your eyes on those measures.
Oh, she's getting sticky notes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so measure 30 and measure 34.
Oh. Just put it there. And then which one? 34.
Okay, now you start playing at measure 26 and see if you can get to measure 35.
They start at what? 36?
26.
Oh.
Okay, so let's stop there. So you just like didn't even look at that at all when you could have, because now that we covered it with sticky notes, you can watch your music. So now let's cover measure 38 and measure 32. And then you can watch your music. And 26. 26, 32, and 40.
36, 32, and 40.
Yeah. And then you can look at your music. And
Wait, you said 32?
yeah, that's one that you don't necessarily know yet. So we're going to see if we can get past it. Okay, so it started there at 26.
Keep 26.
At 26, and you can look at your music as much as it's there.
Yes.
Okay, good. Did you get to, was it 40 or did you get past that?
Kind of got the 41, but I couldn't play like the last note.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so good. So now I think you've got all of that. I think you can cover all the way to 40.
Oh.
And let's just check, because that's like the whole first section, and really you don't have that much after that. So if we memorize that much in this little tiny session, that's amazing. And so
We're covering up to 40.
yeah, just cover all of your music up to 40. And then I'll let you play the whole thing. And you're welcome to use your music for the last portion, but don't push yourself too much, right? Like, look at it when you need to. I would face your music, and then just, if you want to not use it, just glance down. We'll be able to see with your eyes whether you're playing it from memory or not.
Oh.
All right, awesome job. So, did you expect yourself to be able to play that much of it from memory?
No.
Right. And so this is my point when I'm like asking you, I'm like, let's just see what happens if we try to play all of our music from memory this week, because one more practice session on this, you're going to have the whole thing memorized. Probably. And then if you do that with all of your other stuff, guess what? Your mind has time to do. Think about your wrist, think about your bow, think about your hand shape, think about your ricochet, think about your shifts that you have in this one particularly, right? And so you can get so much more done because you're not distracted by trying to read the music all the time. So the last way that probably most people memorize is with repetition. And this is part of what we're doing right now, but we're kind of like giving it some superpower by using a couple extra tools at the same time. So yes, we're doing the repetition, but at the same time, it's like you're blocking some stuff with sticky notes, and you're thinking carefully and intentionally about patterns and stuff, which is why you were able to memorize so much in one session, right? The last way to practice, and this mostly only works once you know the piece pretty well and you almost have it memorized, which is kind of where you're at now. You're going to divide the piece into sections. So let's look at your piece together one more time. So I'm just going to write on it a little bit. If we can, let's make it bigger. Actually, I think I can do this. Nope. Whatever. I'll use it like that. Okay. So if I make this your first section, right here. And I usually like to throw out the number and then circle it. And then we're going to look for where it kind of makes sense to have another section. And I think that's on this note right here. So this is section 2. So now you're going to notice that the first section has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 6 measures. So let's just see if it works that way. Usually it will. For the next section to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measures, and that's perfect. We can put section 3 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. You could include the pickup, but I'm going to put it right here. Section 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that doesn't look like a good place for a section, so I'm going to move a little bit further to right here. Would you agree with that?
I don't know.
Because you're the one playing it. We could do it here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess we could. Let's just stick with it. 5 here. Sometimes you'll move it around just a little bit to make it fit the phrasing of the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like right here, that really needs to be a section right at the a tempo. So that section just got shrunk, but that's okay. So this is 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like in here is 7. 2.
B.
Huh?
Right where the B is.
Something, maybe the pickup, you decide. You're the one that plays it. You kind of know where the phrasing is better than I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this would be the last section. That's an 8. I know you can't read it, but okay. So there's 8 sections in your piece. What are you going to do with that now? So I would take the sticky notes again, or just paper actually. Doesn't have to be. Actually, you don't want it to be sticky, so I'm going to use the side that's not sticky. Well, maybe I don't need to do it right now. We're kind of running short on time, but how do I, hang on. So now that you have your piece in sections, you're going to write those sections on a piece of paper. Then you're going to cut that piece of paper apart so that you have all the sections separate, and you're going to put them in a jar. And then you're randomly going to draw a section and play that section from memory. Okay, does that make sense? I would have you try it, but we're already out of time, so I'm just going to give you the idea and let you do it on your own. But this is a really good way to build your confidence with your memory work. And then when you're playing, performing from memory, and like you had happen today, you're like, okay, I just had a brain fart, right? Well, if that happens when you're on stage, and it does, you have somewhere to go besides starting over from the beginning. So you can just jump forward to a section or jump back to a section, and you can kind of just cover up that mistake without most people even knowing that it happened. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Are you kind of excited about how much you were able to memorize?
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself. That was very good. Excellent work. I know you already have been practicing that piece and stuff, but I think that's how it is for a lot of people. They're practicing their piece, they know it kind of, and they don't realize how simple it would be to just put it to memory. And then once you have it memorized, you can focus on all the other stuff that is what makes music. So it's pretty cool. Okay, thanks, Conrad. You were a great sport trying all that out for me. So thanks for being here on a Saturday. And I think we'll end with that.
Thanks.